Good
The
afternoon.
broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mr. Taylor with Young Engineers Today. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Wednesday. Today we will be covering our second part of Kerbal. All right, and just remember, before I even get into anything, if you can hear me, raise your hand. Okay, Anna, Drew, Eric, Jean-Marc, Keller, Marissa, very good. Just waiting on John, Luke, Maya, and Wade. Okay. All right. Secondly, if you can see my screen, please raise your hand. Very good. Large quantity hands, Drew, Eric, Jean-Marc, Keller, Marissa, Maya. Wade, very good. Majority of class. Excellent. All right. First things first. I'll review what we did last class, and then I got an announcement, and then we will get into doing some new stuff. All right. We went over the history of rockets briefly, and Newton's laws, and Newton's second law, and third law, and etc. And then we were just a reminder when we begin Kerbal, you start a game, start anew. You can name it if you want, but the game mode that primarily, since we're using the demo, is Sandbox. The rest I'm glad you like. KSP, it's very cool, and select Start. Now, just a reminder, all we're trying to do here is go into space. In 7th and 8th grade, you do Kerbal and you try to do orbiting and moon landing. All right, to review, you can select your vehicles. You can look at the center screen and vehicle assembly. And Marissa, I'm not 100% sure if I can come down this weekend. I'm kind of clamoring to get some work done. What it's going to come down to, if I can come, is what I accomplish in the next 2 days. Like tonight, I have to finish a paper for my normal work. Plus, I got to get this PhD interview and analysis of this professor's work done. If I can finish that up in the next 2 days, plus get my statistics chapter read and take a quiz in that all by Friday night, I'll be able to come. Okay. I'm trying. I talked to Mr. Dubik about it as well last week, so he's aware of it. All right, payload. Payload is the weight that we're dealing with and what's on it. You're going to be using a parachute. Remember, that's important so we can land, or you're going to kill your Kerbal. And this will keep it alive. Secondly, we place it on the command pod. Click to stick it on the place in the bottom right-hand corner. What you'll notice is that the numbers start identifying the sequence at which things are being put together, okay? Which that is an important little aspect. Now, propulsion, moving us forward. We did this last time. Anything placed below the decoupler can be taken apart. And this, we use the couplers to separate sections by when you use the space bar, you can put this apart. Propulsion tab in the upper left-hand corner selects the RT10 solid booster. This booster contains both solid rocket fuel and the engine. So when we use a booster, it's not just fuel, but it's the engine. All right. Now, a solid propellant launch, you're going to use your instruments. Your altimeter tells your elevation. And if it's increasing, you're going up. If it's decreasing, you're going down. Now, just like the gentleman suggested in the video we watched on Monday, start using the nav ball. Don't try to watch where you're going as much. Use the actual tools, the G-force. Make sure you're in a safe area. Your heading, your throttles here, and your surface. And now you can start using we went over the E, S, Q, and U, and I think it's I buttons to help change directions and turn. But this nav ball, please start trying to use it. And don't just, like we did with X-Plane, you can fly X-Plane in the cockpit, which is fine. But you use the instruments. But other people try to fly behind the plane. You're not going to learn as much. It's going to be not as challenging, okay? And you want this gold arrow aligned with the horizon to make sure or if you have an angle, you're at an angle, okay? You have your launch pad. To launch a rocket, you hit the space bar. Your rocket will ascend straight up. Watch the altimeter, top center, and your surface speed. Rocket has a finite amount of fuel. You can watch it deplete in the bottom. This is where you start using multiple boosters so you can accelerate yourself. And we went over the time warp button where when you're landing back in so you can deploy your parachute. Okay. Now, liquid propellant. You can hit the escape bar on your keyboard, select end flight, and select the vehicle assembly build. So you can do it again. Solid rocket booster by selecting and hitting delete. Place this fuel tank by selecting propulsion in the upper corner. Click on the FLT400 liquid fuel tank. This is the only fuel tank, so you need an engine as well. So with this, when you're using the liquid propellant, the FLT400, you're using a liquid. So when you do this, this is only a fuel tank compared to the previous with the solid propellant, which had everything in one, okay? So then you have to select the engine, which is the LV909 engine in place at the bottom. We'll watch a short video about this. You can hit escape, remove the previous solid rocket booster, replace this fuel tank by selecting propulsion, click on the FT fuel tank. I think I just hit the same button. Yeah, I did. And you can launch it. Now, excuse me, I was wrong on the letters. It's W, A, S, and D we use for controls to help maneuver this rocket around. And you can experiment trying to use the nav ball, as you can see in this image. All right, we're going to stop there for right now. Now, what you'll do for orbiting, this is a lot more advanced. You'll do this next year, okay? Because you have to learn how to change trajectory and building an orbiting rocket, which takes a lot more effort. All right, now, I would like us to do, we're going to go over to our video where we left off about here. All right, so make sure I'm going to give you a moment to open up Kerbal. And basically, this is going to review what I just went over in the slides. And while you're doing that, I'm going to call on Marissa. Yes, Marissa.
Oh, am I muted?
You are unmuted.
Okay. So two things. What do you mean by next year? Like next year if you're going into 7th grade or
Yes, if you're going in the 7th grade, that's what I mean by that.
yeah. Because I'm a 5th grader, so
Okay.
and I'm actually not doing this next year
Okay. I'm sorry.
because it's repeating the same thing, but I'm definitely going to be back in 7th grade.
Okay. Very good.
But and also what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, I tried to launch it. I don't know exactly how to launch it. I know we kind of went over that in the video, but I couldn't remember how to launch it. So is that what I have to do?
You have to use the shift and spacebar like to fuel up your throttle.
So you're
And
supposed to do it at the same time? Hang
yes. All right.
on. Okay.
Okay.
Multiple times?
You can change the throttle and then it will boost up. And then you can hit the
Okay.
space bar to launch it. And then use the space bar again if you want to. If you hit the space bar way too many times, you're going to let loose your decoupler.
Okay.
Which, okay. So just be careful how, if you get space bar happy and you start hitting it a lot. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So let's continue here. And we're going to learn a little bit more.
You notice the parachute is now green in the bottom left. And there we are. We have completed our...
Hold on. This needs to...
So we're coming down, and I'm just going to watch for the shadow and come out of time acceleration. Again, because it's not unknown for bad things to happen at time acceleration. You notice the parachute is now green in the bottom left. And there we are. We have completed our mission. And so we can now go on to bigger and greater things. So we press escape, end flight, and go back to the vehicle assembly building. So we're going to improve on this design. We're going to get rid of that low-tech solid rocket booster, which has no throttle control. And instead, we're going to put on a regular...
Now, pay attention to what you're doing. And after we do this, I'll give you some time to do all this, okay?
Or fuel tank. We're just going to take this little one and this tiny engine. That will give us a good start. So again, you notice on the side we have the same setup. We're just going to fly this. Click on the launch button, and it'll load the launch pad. So now to fire this, if I hit the space bar, nothing happens. And the reason is my throttle on the left side is 0. Now to increase that, I hold the shift button. It's a good idea to do this before you actually activate your stage, so you're going at maximum thrust. But there we are, we're going straight up, and I'm more or less going to keep this for some altitude. Again, you can mess around with the controls here. See, I'm pushing the S button to turn south, in this case. If I press the W button, watch the nav ball. Now we're kind of pointing north in the nav ball. It's very important that you learn to pay attention to the nav ball when you're flying rather than looking at your spacecraft, because again, if I rotate this by 90 degrees and then I push W and S, you see that it's now rotating in different axes. So you want to learn how to fly your spacecraft with the nav ball, and it's very important to be able to hold a spot, such as the straight up vertical spot on this. Hold that for while you're performing a maneuver. Also note that on the nav ball on the bottom, there is a green thing that looks like, it's like a cross, half a cross with a circle in it. That is your velocity vector. That shows you where you're going. So this has proper Newtonian physics, this game. So as I turn, the thing will try to follow what I'm doing, but it won't immediately respond. It's not like X-Wing fighters in Star Wars where things magically turn using the atmosphere. Although you can use the atmosphere here, but in space you have to basically kill your velocity, working against Newton's laws of motion. So yeah, let's wait for this thing to drop down. Oh, the other thing to see, of course, is this one with a cross in the middle. That is my negative velocity vector, my retrograde vector. You see that as I fly towards it, my velocity drops towards 0. Let's try and hit it again. If I'm chasing this, I'm wasting all my fuel. Yeah, so it's a good idea to get practiced with this. Now we've dropped, all our fuel has gone, and we're now starting to drop down. So again, press the space bar to jettison the stage, and space bar again to activate the parachute. And now that will fall back to the surface on its own, and we don't need to go through all this again. We've seen it before. So let's end flight. We're going to build something a little bigger now. We're going to take this spacecraft into orbit. So this is going to be a guide on how to actually get into orbit. We're going to take this stage that we've already built, and we're going to build a larger rocket underneath it. So we're looking at the top here for the FLT 400 fuel tank, and we're going to attach that underneath. And you see, oh, I made a mistake here. What we need is a decoupler here. There we go. So now you see as we put that on, it has covered up the rocket. It's not going to be used right away. We're going to put 3 of these FLT 400 fuel tanks on it. And
all right, what I would like you to do right now is go and try to build the second rocket, all right? And try using that and see how it gets a little bit more powerful. Once you've done that, raise your hand, all right? In the meantime, what I'm going to do is show Drew and Wade how to go read and download. All right, Drew and Wade. Basically, you have to go to the Kerbal site. Which I will send to you. Okay, when you get there, you can either buy or demo. We're going to click on demo. When that loads, you can scroll down and you download whatever version you have for your computer, which is Windows, Mac, or Linux. Okay? Yes, Anna?
I built the rocket. Well, not the one with the multiple
No, we're not
fuel
doing that.
engine.
Okay, good. Thank you, Anna.
But do I launch it or?
Yeah, launch it. Go ahead. Once you built it, and launch it. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, try to get in space or high as you can. Eric, go ahead.
Once again, I didn't hear on the video. How did you use the liquid engines? What did you press to make it launch again?
You have to use a shift button to control your throttle and the space bar, just the same as before.
Oh, you hold shift and press space pretty much?
No, you use shift to control your throttle to increase it.
Okay, so if I let go of shift, it'll turn off the engine?
No, space bar turns on your engine. It's the same as you did previously. It's the same as we did on last Thursday as well. And on Monday.
Yeah, I couldn't really figure out the fuel ones. With the liquid fuel, I meant, so.
So what are you asking how to do? I'm not quite sure what you're asking. To control your throttle, you use the shift button. So what?
Yeah, I'm pressing shift and it won't do anything.
Are you on the launch pad?
Yeah.
Shift controls your throttle.
Oh, there we go. I think I was using my right shift. Maybe it only lets you use the left shift.
Okay, thank you. Get some Eric.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Jean-Marc. Thank you, Eric, Marissa.
Just to be clear, which one are we launching?
The small
Which one are
one.
we launching?
The small one.
Okay. I had to clear because I was already trying to launch a different one. I have to clear the launch pad, and now like my computer's kind of stuck.
All right, well, just do what you got to do to fix it, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, eyes done. Now, on Monday, we sent our first small rocket. Today, we sent a liquid fuel rocket. Now we're going to learn how to get it into orbit, okay? And outer space is our goal here. It's waiting for a few more people to get done. Thank you, Drew and Wade. Appreciate your generosity. All right. It looks like everyone has raised their hand, so we are going to move forward. Very good. Okay. All right. Now, a few more things about Kerbal. Oh, I know I'm on the wrong thing. Okay, everyone. Now we're going to build a rocket that helps us orbit into space, okay? All right.
We're going to take this spacecraft into orbit. So this is going to be a guide on how to actually get into orbit. We're going to take this stage that we've already built, and we're going to build a larger rocket underneath it. So we're looking at the top here for the FLT 400 fuel tank, and we're going to attach that underneath. And you see, oh, I made a mistake here. What we need is a decoupler here. There we go. So now you see as we put that on, it has covered up the rocket. It's not going to be used right away. We're going to put 3 of these FLT 400 fuel tanks on it. And underneath that, we're going to put the LVT engine, basically. This is the small engine here. There's 2 small engines. You do not want the giant one. You don't want this really tiny one. You don't want this one. There's a lot of engines you don't want. You want either this one or this one, right? They're similar. They're similar, and they'll work relatively well. The other thing I would suggest is that you go through to the Aero tab, which has wings and other things that work in the atmosphere. And on the second page, you have the AVR8 winglet. And we're going to put some wings on this to help steer it in the lower atmosphere. Now, this is a rocket. If you just put a wing on, that will want to turn over because this wing puts drag on one side and no drag on the other. So you'd want to put another wing on the other side, and you can see I can't quite get that straight. Well, thankfully there's a tool to help us. Down here in the bottom left corner, there is the symmetry tool. So you can click on symmetry mode, and it shows 4 slices there. That means it's going to put 4 items on. So watch this. There we have it.
That's awesome.
Four wings on the bottom of this rocket, providing me a complete set of steering. Now, these wings will become useless as we get higher up, but by that point, we will be switching to this upper stage. So let us take you through flying into orbit with this. So here we are on the launch pad, ready to go.
Make sure you're paying attention.
Preparations are very important. First, you're going to need the map, which is accessed using the M key. Now, the map, you can turn using the right button, just like you did in the hangar. This shows the world which you are on. And at the bottom here, if you click this, you can bring up the nav ball. And this is going to be very important because you're going to want to use the nav ball to help you get into orbit. So do this before you get into orbit. You don't want to be scrambling around trying to hit this thing while you're panicking about what way your rockets are firing. So come out of this by pressing M again. Before we launch this time, we're going to hit the throttle all the way to maximum. And then once that's there, we hit the spacebar and we go. Now for the first 10 kilometers, we want to go straight up. And the reason is the atmosphere is going to slow us down if we try to go sideways. The atmosphere is one of the biggest problems with getting into orbit around Kerbin, the Kerbin being the planet that you start on. Gravity is kind of hard, but without the atmosphere, it would be a lot easier. So we're aiming straight up at full throttle, but as we get our velocity above about 150 meters per second, we are going to slow down our thrust a little so that we're not overdoing our work against the atmosphere, right? We're just going to try and keep it between 150 and 200 before we reach 10 kilometers. And we're watching the numbers up the top. This is 6,000 meters right now. And 7,000 meters. I'm just backing off the throttle. Once we get above 10 kilometers, what we're going to do is we're going to start to go to the right on this. We're going to go towards 90 degrees on the nav ball, which is east, and we're going to try and get it to about 45 degrees pitch and throttle off again. So now we've gone through the thick part of the atmosphere, and we're pushing our thrust up, and we're trying to aim for 45 degrees. Now, watch as our fuel runs down. The next thing we're going to wait for is our engine is going to burn all our fuel out in these tanks. And you can either mouse over the tanks with the right button to see that, or you can look in the bottom left, you can see it happening, and you'll see it go burn out. So there we are. We press space to drop the stage and space to fire our new stage. Now, we're going to fly this tiny one all the way into orbit. That thing just helped us get up to near to high altitudes. Now we're going to go the rest of the way using this tiny thing. I would suggest hitting caps lock and then T. That will help stabilize your vehicle and make it a lot less squirrely. Now we're going to press M to go into map mode. We're still aiming around 45 degrees. Now what I'm going to look at is the map. You can see now that this orbit is being marked out for me, predicting my path. So I am going to watch the apoapse. I want to make that above 100. I want to make that to 100. So by keeping my nav ball between about 40 and 10, I will continue to get higher and higher in the atmosphere or above the planet. And my projected maximum height will get higher and higher. So once this number reaches 100, you're going to hit the X key to cancel all thrust. So you don't want it to go up too steep. You want to make sure you're going sideways. That's more efficient to go sideways than it is to go upwards.
Now, boys and girls, we're not as concerned as much about orbiting. Main reason I'm showing you some of this, working on it by getting to outer space, is that it tells you about a lot of great shortcut buttons like the X and the M. The M giving you the map to show you where you're located, X killing your throttle automatically. That's the main reason we're doing this. What I want you all to try to do is try to get into outer space.
And go. There we go. So now we have 2 minutes and 30 seconds before we hit that. So I'm going to use something called a maneuver node to figure out my final correction burn to get into a circular orbit. So what I do is I click on the orbit near apoapse and add maneuver. And this little thing pops up, and this little thing pops up with a number of directions on it. And you want to grab the little one that looks like the back of a plane again, grab it, and then drag it sideways. And you see this dotted line? That shows the projected orbit after my circularizing burn. Now, you can see here this dotted line goes all the way around, and it tells me my apoapse is 104 and my periapse is 99, and that's a pretty good circular orbit. Down here, it's telling me that I'm going to have to burn 633.5 meters per second. That's how much my velocity has to change. The estimated burn is going to be 32 seconds, which means I need to run my engines at full throttle for 32 seconds. And then it says my node is in T minus 1 minute, 20 seconds. So in that time, that 1 minute and 20 seconds, I want to find the blue reticule on the nav ball. That is where I will want to be pointing. And you want to stick your spacecraft exactly on that. You can time accelerate a little if you like. Because you're going to do a burn for 32 seconds, you probably want to start 15 seconds prior. You want to do, an equal time either side of this. And so I'm now burning. You see my throttle going up, and you see my orbit starting to change. There's my spacecraft, but I'm going to do this in map mode just so you get an idea of what's going on. As I'm thrusting,
we're almost done.
My orbit starts to get further and further out. And also, as I'm thrusting, my the blue reticule will tend to shift. So as you get closer to the end, you might want to throttle back just a little so you get more time to react to these things. You want to get this as close to 0 as possible. There we go. That's 3.7 meters per second away from my ideal. And it says my apoapse is 101 and my periapse is 97. So if I just click on the orbit again, the maneuver node, that's me in my final orbit.
All right. Now, any questions? I got a few hands up. Yes, Anna.
Never mind, but I do have one question though. It's not related to that specifically. How do you get your rocket to launch without the parachute deploying?
Excuse me?
How do you get your rocket to launch without the parachute stopping it?
The parachute's used on your descent, so I'm kind of confused on what you're trying to shoot it without a parachute.
Well, I get it up and I press the space bar just once to get it moving, and the parachute.
You're hitting the button
deploys.
too quick or something. It has something to do with the sensitivity of which you're hitting it. Because your space bar uses the launch everything. It allows you to decouple items as well as to release your parachute. So just be careful on how hard you're touching it or how quick you're touching it. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Everyone else, go ahead and try to put your rocket in the space. That's what we're doing right now. Yes, Marissa.
Okay, so 2 things. How many times do you have to actually press the space bar to get it up?
Once. Anything else?
Yeah, I pressed it 100 times, and nothing happened.
Did you have your throttle up? Did you use the shift button to increase your throttle?
Yeah.
Did you have it built correctly?
I had the thing that goes on top, then a coupler, then a fuel engine thing.
Do you have an engine?
I do believe so. I can double check.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you doing differently from on Monday? Were you able to launch it on Monday?
Nope.
Honestly, I don't know exactly what you're doing wrong there. I mean, it's a pretty simplistic process. But make sure you're using the left shift. All right.
Okay, I was using the right shift, so that might have made a difference.
Okay. All right. Let me see who else. Sean Mark, go ahead.
So we're not trying to get it into orbit, just into space?
Just get into space. The main reason I showed you, I mean, if you want to do that, I'm not teaching you how to do that because you'll do that once you hit 7th grade. But
Yeah,
part of the reason why I showed it to you because it showed a lot of shortcuts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
I
using
wasn't sure because I was kind of confused about the orbit.
Yeah, orbiting's kind of confusing. Main thing I wanted you guys to pick up on is you can use the M button, the N button. It reviewed how to use the S, and there's some other cool features that you'll get to learn in the future.
Okay.
It's kind of like a preview for a movie, if you will.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Noah.
I just want to say I made it to the moon.
What?
I made it to the moon because I have the full version.
Oh, wow. Cool. So have you orbited before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're just a rock star at this, aren't you? Can you go further out into outer space?
Yeah. It's just there's not a lot to do then.
Except pretty much kill your Kerbal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're just a rock star now, aren't you? Keep it up. Great job.
Okay.
Well, if you take this in 7th grade and you do this with Mr. Dubik, I did not teach you to do that. Make sure you tell him that because he will yell at me.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, if you want some more sensitive controls, can just put extra fins on it.
Yes.
And also, what I did was I got up about 10,000, 100,000 meters up in the air. Then I finally realized I forgot to put a parachute on my shuttle.
Oh, bummer. Oh, well, go ahead and try it again. You're doing real well. Thank you for the feedback.
I didn't parachute, I'm just going to shoot that thing back right up and see if it'll work.
Now, Eric, do you know why it's I don't know why oh no, do you know why it gives you more control when you put more fins on?
Well, because there's more things that are trying to move the shuttle.
Not exactly. It's related, but not exactly. What force is it increasing on your shuttle?
Well, the air pressure, I guess, depends.
Drag. It's creating more drag in the atmosphere. So it slows your shuttle down, which is making it easier to control. All right. Good discovery, Eric.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing. Anna, go ahead.
It still won't work.
What?
Every time
What?
I've tried different
Anna, I need you to
quicknesses.
slow down.
I've tried different.
Anna, I need you to slow down because you're saying it won't work. I don't know what you're talking about. Please use nouns and very
Every
descriptive
time I
terms.
try to launch it, the parachute always deploys. It pops up. And then I can't fly anywhere.
Yeah, Anna, I don't know. It's something to do with your keyboard setting, with how your space bar, how it's being touched, or how sensitive. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on what's going on there, so I haven't come across an issue like this previously. I don't know if you're like how hard you're hitting it. Are you on a Mac or PC?
Well, I've tried different levels of hitting it. I've tried different quicknesses too.
I'm gonna have to look into this one. I haven't heard of this before, so I'm kind of this is out of my expertise. What I would suggest is when you hit it, make sure you're holding the left. Try holding the left shift button.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Noah.
I just want to say with the parachute when it's deploying, see on the bottom right corner the orange things, it's in the order. So if the thrusters and the parachutes in the same, they're deploy at the same time.
Very good point. So basically, Anna, what he's saying, if you're not ordering this correctly, where your parachute is on top, it's going to deploy with it at the same time. Anna, you're unmuted.
How do I remove the parachute on top?
You got to make sure it's the 0.
How do I do?
Just pull it off. Click on it and take it off if it's in the wrong place.
Okay. Hold on.
If you don't order it, like this is one of those things where, because it's realistic, and I know you can probably agree with this since you've been to the moon already. If you don't do things correctly with regards to Newtonian physics,
I don't know if I have a parachute at the top.
you would know on the side. Like there are literally these images. We went over these today and on Monday. The order of the images shows you where it's at. And
Hold on. I
show
can't
you
move my pad.
slides. Right here.
I have that, but I don't know how to remove the parachute.
Then exit and start over. You're supposed. You see this little reset button at the bottom?
3. Yeah.
Click on that so you can start over. Okay?
It won't let me click on it.
You can click on the parts and drag them apart.
Yes, but it won't let me click on the reset button.
Then there's something
I'll
frozen.
exit out and
Yeah, I would exit out because it's not running correctly, the software.
okay.
Okay?
Give it like, should I shut down the whole computer?
No. Just shut the software down and restart it. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Let me know. Yes, Jean Mark?
How do you know when you get to space? Because I got pretty high and then lost control of my rocket and had to go back down.
If you get pretty far into space, like basically you can get to the point where you're not going to float back into Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, because I did float back.
Yeah. So see if you can just get into outer space. We're not going to try to orbit, because orbit, it's basically you're in space, but you're getting pulled by the gravitational pull of Earth. But it's like a mixture, so you're far enough out, but you're pulled enough that you'll orbit around it, kind of like a satellite.
Yeah. And do we have to use the rocket they showed in the video, or can we build our own?
You can build your own. That's just a rocket that we know that will work. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I just wanted to have more fuel.
All right, add more fuel. I don't blame you. All right, and Marissa, go ahead.
Okay, so I got it up in the air. I built the rocket that was in the video, and I got it up in the air, and now it's in the air, and I have it paused because I don't know what to do next because it's kind of going out of control. So, like, what do you want me to do?
Say
And
that
I
one
was
more
also
time.
wondering,
Say that
how
one.
do you get it to go down?
Like, what do you mean go down?
Like, go down so that way you can deploy the parachute.
You're in space?
No, I was just wondering how, so that way when I do get there.
I'm confused at what you're asking.
How do you get it to go down?
What to go down?
The rocket.
Go down where? Like I'm honestly I'm confused at what you're asking, Marissa. Are you talking about the?
Like, I just so that way after class or something, I could go back and I could do a flight and stay within Earth's atmosphere,
Yeah.
and so that way I'd be able to go back down because I don't know how to like deploy the parachute.
Basically, you need to go back and do what we did on Monday. Is doing the very basic, solid propellant rocket, where it just goes up. You're going to run out of fuel before you even crack even close to getting out of the atmosphere, and then just hit the space bar for the coupler to release the engine and the solid fuel booster all in one. It drops off. Then hit the space bar again as it's dropping. It deploys your parachute, and from there you can speed it up to get closer with your time, or you can just let it drop and eventually it just pops out on its own.
Okay.
Okay.
And how do you speed it up?
Using, I can't think of the term off the top of my head. It's the hold on, I can't think of it right now. Went over this on Monday. Let me see. Orbiting, change directory. I'm trying to see if I can see. Fuel jet, blah, blah, blah. It's called time warp.
How do you do that?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to get back to you, so I can't think of it right now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
By the way,
Now, Maya suggested to you, Anna, if you are using a Mac, which I believe you are, hitting the left corner of the space bar helps. It must be some of a Mac issue. So hit it in the left corner, try doing that. And then I got one more thing I want to go over with you guys about Kerbal. And remember, using the fins, placement helpers, these will help guide you, because it creates a little bit more drag. And if you use the symmetry button down the left, it will help evenly put all the fins on. Okay. All right. That's about it. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. And all right, in 5 more minutes, I'm going to show you guys something. So keep working. Type in if you made it into space or came close. Okay. Catherine, to pause a YouTube video, you just hit the space bar on it, or click on the play button. All right, congrats, Anna. Press the period to excel time. Thanks for the help, Maya. And the comma to decrease time. Oh, Jean-Marc got pretty close. All right, everyone. I need your attention, then I'll let you guys finish what you're doing. Please look here at my screen. Now, I posted in Edmodo. We had a webinar we need to make up. So I scheduled it for the following let me show you. Oh, no, I need to go in and change this. That is not good. All right. Well, later today, actually, I got to change this because I accidentally made these for specific standard time. I'm going to add a webinar for next Wednesday and Thursday. So after this lab, have your parents or yourself register for it for the following week. I believe someone already noticed. So we need to register for the following Wednesday. This will help you make up from the one lab where we had some technical difficulties in the beginning of April. It was a Monday. We'll make it up on a Wednesday. Instead of being done next Monday with our webinars, you'll have an extra one the following Wednesday. Okay? And I need to change these. So just don't look up when you go to register, wait for like 15 minutes, like 6:15, because I got to change these actually. I'm going to delete them now, but yeah, because I scheduled them for specific time. Pacific. But I'll update that for you. Now, another announcement. Next on Saturday, you have a lab in Raleigh with Mr. Dubik. And then to those in Charlotte, next Thursday, there's a bonus lab, an optional lab, I should call it. Next Thursday on May 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. for a 2-hour extra lab. So check that out. Make sure you're keeping up to date with things. Now I'm going to call on some people because I have some questions. Yes, I got to do a bonus webinar, not lab, but on next week. Yes, Marissa.
Okay, I just wanted to say that
I crashed because I lost control of my rocket. I crashed into water.
Okay.
So my flight lasted 43 seconds.
Okay.
So it gives like a flight events thing after you crash.
Yes, you do. Yep.
It said liftoff. Command pod MK1 collided into the surface. So apparently I had like a pilot guy, crew guy named Bob Kerman.
Yeah, you have a Kerbal, which is inside your rocket.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah. How do you sleep at night killing Kerbals? Ew, it's so sad.
A moment of silence, please.
All right. Anything else, Marissa?
No, I just wanted to share that.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Let's go with Jean-Marc. Jean-Marc.
Okay, so the bonus lab starts at 6, or
Say that again.
does the bonus lab start at 6, and there's no other lab before it?
No, it's all or nothing. 6 to 8.
Okay, my dad wanted to know.
Yeah, that's it's 6 to 8, and that optional lab. Um, that's and the one thing is it's anyone in Charlotte can come. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And Anna, go ahead.
I have a question. How do you have a parachute without it being on the top?
I don't believe you can do that.
Because last time I came down, nothing was deploying. I got into space, but when I was coming down, nothing was deploying. So I crashed.
Did you hit the space bar to release it and using the suggestion minus in the upper left hand corner?
Yep. But there was no parachute. And
What I would do,
I have one other question for you.
Anna, to address that,
Oh.
I would go back and watch the webinar or go to the video link so you can skim through on your own. I'm not 100% sure what you're doing is causing that issue.
I have a question though.
Go ahead, Marissa.
For the lab on Saturday,
Yes.
do we have a lab after that?
I don't know. I would check. Let me check the Raleigh one. Now, yes, in Raleigh, if you see here, Mr. Dubik has posted. The labs will be
Okay.
Saturday normal times. We'll finish our rocket projects. We'll have an optional lab from 5 to 7 that day. So you'll have 2 that day. So
Thank you.
yeah, just make sure everyone, as we always tell you, Mr. Dubik and I both, just make sure you're checking Edmodo. Edmodo is our main communication medium. Okay? All right. Thank you. All right. Any other questions, comments, etc.? All right. Catherine was just making some comments about the Bluebird cam. It's pretty cool. Check that out. All right. Now, like I said, once again, give me a few minutes because obviously I'm a knucklehead and I posted that extra webinar for the West Coast, which would be 3 hours difference. And I will have those up and just please register, have your parents register for them. And that will get you ready for backup for an extra webinar as a makeup webinar. Okay. Now, does anyone have any questions about Kerbal, class, webinars, slabs, etc.? All right. Now, once again, make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you check out all the Kerbal resources to those who have really taken advantage of that. It'll help you. I know Catherine has, and some others have pointed to the fact that it's been really useful. So just check them out and make sure that you're using them. And I'll have the webinar up tonight. We have videos, and this gentleman, the video we watched tonight, he has a ton. He produces lots and lots of Kerbal videos. So if you really want to get into it, there's other resources out there. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have a wonderful night. And as always, thank you for being part of Young Engineers today. And our mistakes help us make our biggest discovery. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening and take care. Have a great weekend, etc. Bye-bye, everyone. Yes, Maya, the extra webinar is a makeup webinar. It'll be next Wednesday. I'll have them on Edmodo in the next 10 minutes for registration. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.